A man is thrown from his car, his body left broken on the ground below. An invisible force knocks investigators right off their feet. A ghostly voice whispers through a spirit box, telling people to get out. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. This is Lone Wolf Bridge in San Angelo, Texas, a place where real tragedy and paranormal activity are tangled together. For over 100 years, this bridge has been a silent witness to death, sorrow, and things that just can't be explained. Locals and ghost hunters call it one of the most haunted spots in Texas, but what's the real story behind its chilling reputation? Is this place cursed? Is it a doorway for spirits? Or is it just a screen where we project our own fears? Let's peel back the layers of legend and look for some answers. The story of Lone Wolf Bridge is a story of ghosts, but not all of them are the supernatural kind. Some are the ghosts of history, of a town that disappeared, of names we've forgotten, and of tragedies that have been twisted into terrifying tales over time. This place is so active, so unsettling, that some paranormal teams have actually had to pack up and leave in the middle of an investigation, running from something that clearly didn't want them there. We want to know why. We're going to dig into the documented history, the confirmed deaths, and the first-hand accounts to try and separate fact from fiction. Today, Lone Wolf Bridge is just a pedestrian crossing, a nice spot for a quiet walk along the South Concho River. But after the sun goes down, it completely changes. That peaceful feeling is replaced by a heavy sense of unease that has pulled in paranormal fans for decades. And the stories they tell are surprisingly similar. People feel sudden, bone-chilling cold spots, even on a hot Texas night. They hear footsteps on the bridge when no one's there, whispers from voices that have no source, and that creepy feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. Seeing apparitions is a common claim, two shadowy figures that move just at the edge of your vision, or even full-bodied ghosts that appear and vanish in a heartbeat. Some experiences are even more frightening. There are stories from both seasoned investigators and regular folks who say they've been physically touched, pushed, shoved, or even knocked to the ground by a force they couldn't see. And these aren't just campfire stories. They're experiences documented over and over by paranormal groups who show up with all their gear: EMF meters, audio recorders, and spirit boxes. They capture EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, which are faint, mysterious voices on their recordings. They record weird spikes in electromagnetic fields that have no good explanation. More often than not, they leave with more questions than answers, convinced that something smart and aware is living at that bridge. This place has earned its reputation as a paranormal hotspot, a place where the veil between our world and the next feels terrifyingly thin. But to understand the hauntings of today, we have to go back in time. The story starts not with ghosts, but with the grit of the Texas frontier. The first Lone Wolf Bridge was built back in 1888. It was a vital crossing for buffalo hunters, soldiers from Fort Concho, and the people of a small, growing town. That town was also named Lone Wolf, a little settlement that popped up from a buffalo hunters camp in the 1870s. For a little while, it was even in the running to become the county seat, but it seems the town was never officially mapped out. Its residents were mostly squatters, just trying to make a life for themselves. The name Lone Wolf is a ghost itself. Nobody knows for sure where it came from. One popular story, which you'll see on historical markers, says it was named for a famous Kiowa chief who was well known in the area. Legend says the chief's son was killed in a fight with the U.S. cavalry near this very spot in 1873. When the chief came back to get his son's body for a proper burial, soldiers drove him away, and his grief is said to have stained the land forever. Some think his sad, angry spirit is the main one haunting the bridge. Another, more practical theory, is that the bridge was just named after the town of Lone Wolf, a town that's long gone, swallowed up by the growth of San Angelo. By the 1980s, the town site didn't even appear on maps anymore, leaving the bridge as the only thing left of it. There's no single document that proves either story, leaving the real origin of the name a mystery and adding another layer to the bridge's strange identity. When cars came along, the old wooden bridge was replaced in 1922 with the concrete one we see today, built for modern traffic but destined to inherit all the dark stories of the crossing it replaced. It seems like every haunted place is built on a foundation of tragedy, and Lone Wolf Bridge is no different. Its narrow design and sharp curves made it a dangerous spot for drivers for years. Newspaper archives confirmed the bridge was the scene of several deadly accidents. On February 21, 1965, a 24-year-old man named Tommy Van Hill was in a car that smashed into the bridge's railing. He was thrown from the car and died on the ground right below the bridge, the exact same area where many ghost hunters now report their most intense activity. 30 years before that, on July 3, 1935, a 71-year-old rancher named W. Lee Williams also died in a crash on the bridge. On top of these documented accidents, the bridge is surrounded by stories of drownings, suicides, and even violent crime. In 1967, a man was brutally attacked and robbed on the bridge by a hitchhiker he'd picked up. In 1971, another man was dragged from his car and beaten with an ice pick. The river itself has taken lives, and bodies have sometimes been found near the bridge. But the most famous story tied to the bridge is also the one that's most debated. A chilling urban legend says that after a huge flood in 1936, the bodies of victims were washed down the river and found tangled in the bridge's supports. It's a horrible image, and a lot of people think that's the real source of the haunting. But local historians have pretty much debunked this story, saying it's more folklore than fact because there are no official records of it happening. And this is where the lines get blurry, where real deaths bleed into spooky legends. The tragedies we know happened are heartbreaking enough, but the unproven stories of a mass casualty event have created a powerful myth that attracts people who are expecting to find something terrifying. The history is a mix of hard facts and persistent legends. The paranormal claims are intense and all over the map. So what do you think is going on at Lone Wolf Bridge? Is it the spirit of the Kiowa chief, the victims of tragic accidents, or something else? Let us know what you think in the comments. We read every single one. So why do places like Lone Wolf Bridge become such powerful magnets for ghost stories? The answer might be less about spirits and more about psychology. Bridges are what experts on folklore call liminal spaces. Liminal just means it's a place of transition, a threshold. It's not one side of the river or the other, it's the space in between. In many cultures, these in-between places are seen as spots where the veil between worlds is thin, making supernatural encounters more likely. They are places of uncertainty, which is the perfect setting for a ghost story. The mix of true stories and urban legends creates a mythology that just keeps growing. The real stories of car crashes give a grim sense of truth to the more sensational tales, like the bodies in the flood. Every new paranormal claim, whether it's on video or just a personal story, adds another layer to this tapestry of fear. The haunting of Lone Wolf Bridge isn't just about ghosts, it's about the power of a good story and how a place can soak up our collective fears and become a living legend. The environment at Lone Wolf Bridge also helps set the stage. It's isolated, especially at night, and when you combine that with the natural sounds of the river and the wind, your mind can start to play tricks on you. Our brains are wired to see patterns and find meaning, even in random noise or shadows. So when you visit a place you've already been told is haunted, your senses are on high alert. Every creak, every cold spot, every shadow is seen through that spooky filter. It's a classic case of confirmation bias. So, what is the truth behind the haunting of Lone Wolf Bridge? After looking at the history, the tragedies, and the countless paranormal claims, there's no easy answer. There's no denying the real pain and loss that happened here. We know for a fact that people like Tommy Van Hill died violently at this spot, so it's entirely possible their spirits have remained. At the same time, it's obvious the bridge's reputation is also built on powerful, but unproven, folklore. The story of the Kiowa chief and the legend of the flood victims are incredible tales that shape how we see the place, even if there's no hard proof. And paranormal investigators consistently capture what they believe is real evidence of something intelligent there, from disembodied voices to physical shoves, suggesting that something truly unexplained is going on. Maybe the truth isn't one single thing, but a combination of everything. Lone Wolf Bridge is a place where real historical tragedy, powerful local legends, and the psychology of fear all come together. It's haunted by the real victims of its dangerous past, by the folkloric ghosts of Texas history, and by the energy that thousands of curious and terrified visitors have brought there over the years. The haunting is a story woven from fact, fear, and folklore, and its ultimate truth remains as hard to pin down as a shadow in the Texas twilight.